I'm James Swanwick. This is the Alcohol Free Lifestyle Podcast, where you learn to live a life of health, wealth, love, and happiness.
If you're listening to this podcast, we probably have a lot more in common than you might think. One of those things is that you are probably in your 40s, 50s, maybe 60s, and we share a lot of the same memories from our childhood, don't we? So the other day, I was looking at one of the Instagram accounts that I follow, one of those Gen X accounts, and it posted pictures of some of our most beloved characters from the TV sitcoms when we were all growing up. Mr. Roper, what was her name? Flo from Alice, the waitress show. There was another one on there, I think, from Good Times. And yes, we were kids back then, and so, yeah, they looked really old. But I was surprised to find out that those actors were really in their 40s. And yet, gosh, they really didn't look too good for their age. And so I was reflecting on that, and no judgment or anything. It was a different generation. People drank a lot of Tab and Tang and processed food. And certainly drinking was very common. So was smoking cigarettes. So it's not all their fault. It was also before the fitness trends of the 80s really kicked in. So people in general didn't have real healthy lifestyles. But I was thinking, wow, we really have come a long way, haven't we? So that got me thinking about a great topic for an episode, because there's a way to achieve so many of our health goals by just doing this one thing. Now, of course, I'm talking about drinking, but today I'm going to share with you 5 of my top weight loss habits that became really easy when I stopped drinking. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Victoria English. I'm the head coach at Alcohol Free Lifestyle, and I love coming to you guys and talking about some of my favorite things. As you might know, my background is in dietetics and exercise physiology. I was always active as a kid and actually went away to college thinking I would be an English major. I enjoyed writing. I loved reading. I still do. But when I got to college, I really developed a passion for science and for healthy eating. And there's a story behind that as well. So it led me down this path where my entire adulthood has been about wellness and health. That did not make me immune to falling into alcohol's trap. And despite my knowledge and my skill set, it also didn't make me immune from some of the negative health consequences of drinking. And thankfully, I gave that habit up and adopted this alcohol-free lifestyle. But I'd like to share a few tips with you. These are things that, because of my background, have always come pretty naturally to me. But just like so many things, when we are caught in the cycle of drinking, we really do betray the things that are important to us. So obviously, I was a very health-oriented woman. I did menu planning for clients and had a Pilates studio, taught Pilates for many years. And I was drinking about a bottle of wine most nights. So it felt really good to come back to what matters to me, and that I get to share it with you all. Many of our members have similar values around health, and they, to some extent, are able to keep up with their healthy habits. But drinking really casts a shadow over it. And I'll touch on that too. And for those members who come in and have never really embraced an overall healthy lifestyle, they find that releasing the alcohol opens up so many opportunities. It obviously gives them more free time, more energy, and more creativity. They even become a little more daring and will try things out that in the past they would say, oh, I'm just not athletic. But they come to find out that they are. In fact, just about everyone can be athletic. It's finding what makes you feel good, what you want to do, because our bodies are built for movement and for healthy food. So my 5 weight loss habits that became pretty darn easy when I stopped drinking. I'll start with the first one. The first one would be not eating after 6 or 7 p.m. Now, as you know, there's a lot of big trends around intermittent fasting and things like that. I'm not going to get into it. It can be helpful, but the truth is, I think it's just eating in accordance with our natural rhythm. It is simply better for us to not eat late at night. In fact, you want to hear something? I just got back from Miami, where I'm from. I was down there for Christmas, and I had some dinners that were a little later in the evening. And wow, my stomach is still a little bit off. Obviously, I wasn't drinking alcohol, and I made fairly healthy choices. I indulged a little bit because it's the holidays and I felt like it. But wow, just eating later than my body is accustomed to left a mark, and I'm going to be taking extra good care of myself to reset my rhythm. But you know, when we are drinking, most of us would start to drink around say 5 o'clock. It also is not uncommon that we would deprive ourselves of good meals earlier in the day to kind of allow space for the drinking. And let's be honest, sometimes we wouldn't eat because we didn't want to interrupt our buzz, right? Why slow down the effects of alcohol with something like food? So then what happens? Well, we have that first drink, say 5 o'clock. We have the second drink around 5:30. Well, at that point, we've lost touch with our hunger cues. And that's just physiological, the way that the alcohol attacks the prefrontal cortex and then the midbrain. We don't really know what's going on. It's also taxing our pancreas, and our blood sugar is impacted. And so all of a sudden we feel ravenous. Now, that might be after your second drink, or it might be after your fifth, but chances are sooner or later you're going to start kind of eating whatever the heck. Ask me how I know, right? So I'd have a real healthy lunch, and then I would kind of skip dinner, except then dinner would happen later at night. So let's talk about just the calories. Well, in one bottle of wine, there are 630 calories. If you're listening to this podcast, you're not having one glass of wine. So you're not just having 100 something calories. You're drinking half, 3/4, full, maybe even more than one full bottle. That alone adds up to 630 calories. Now, about this whole, liquor doesn't make you gain weight, blah, blah, blah. Well, liquor is liquor is liquor. Some of us would have a different reaction to certain ones. Some people say, oh, I can't drink tequila, it makes me crazy, or I only drink vodka. Well, all liquors are the same calorically. They are between, depending on their proof, 94 and 97 calories per 1.5 ounce. Now, if you're listening to this podcast, I doubt you were sitting there with a shot glass carefully measuring how many ounces would go into your drink. So you're having quite a few calories. And again, depending on how many ounces you were consuming, it was adding up in a big, big way. That's just the drinking. Now, the food. I don't know about you, but after drinking, I was not craving a healthy piece of grilled fish with roasted vegetables and some quinoa. I was craving pizza and chips and, all the things that my body was not built to have on a regular basis. When we drink, our body recognizes alcohol as a toxin, as a poison, because it is. And so the stuff that we're ingesting, or the stuff that we're eating, kind of gets put to the side, and it's stored in our adipose tissue. It's tucked away to be used later, because at the moment, your body is working really, really hard to get rid of this poison. And so on top of the poor quality of food, we are certainly not metabolizing it as well. When we're eating late at night like that, it is preventing our body from doing what it wants to do while we sleep, which is restore, heal, prepare for the next day. So instead of going to sleep with a comfortable stomach, not starving, we don't want to go to bed too hungry, but feeling comfortable with some stable blood sugar, we're dumping all this poison and then all this unhealthy food in there. And so your poor organs are just grinding away at night when they should be resting and healing and preparing to support you the following day. So it makes sense that not eating after 6 or 7 isn't going to happen when we're drinking. And can you see how not eating after 6 or 7 becomes a lot easier once we are alcohol-free? I'll tell you another reason why it's easier to not drink after 6 or 7 is because I fuel my body properly during the day. After a night of drinking, I would typically want something kind of heavy carbs, maybe some eggs and cheese sandwiched between some kind of carby thing, like a bagel or something. Now, that goes against the way that I typically eat because it just doesn't really agree with me. I do like eggs and stuff like that, but I'll get to that in a moment. But I was doing it in an effort to feel better because I was feeling hungover. So I wasn't really mindfully fueling my body. I was just trying to recover.
Hi, this is James Swanwick, and we're taking applications for our 90-day and 365-day stop drinking programs. Clients are mostly executives, entrepreneurs, and investors who have tried unsuccessfully and repeatedly to stop drinking, but remain stuck in a frustrating cycle of stop, start, stop, start. Our programs are not AA, which has a reported 7% success rate. Our programs are not rehab, which has a reported 6% success rate. Our 90-day and 1-year programs involve a safe, fun, virtual community of high achievers with a process that boasts a scientifically proven 98% success rate of clients reaching at least 90 consecutive days alcohol-free. That's according to the University of Washington. We use the latest neuroscience and personal development processes to help rewire clients' brains around alcohol and minimize its importance in their lives. We will show you how to powerfully socialize with friends, family, and colleagues, what to say and how to say it so people don't mistakenly think you're an alcoholic or have a problem, and how to eliminate the temptation of returning to constant drinking so you break the stop-start cycle. To ensure client success, Project 90 can only accept 24 new clients each month. Some of those happy clients include John Keltner from California, who said, "I've lost 10 pounds." Susie Vaughn, a real estate broker in Tennessee, who said, "I've generated 20% more leads." Jessica Gaines from Kentucky, who says, "I've now got joy, focus, presence, and clarity." And Joe Worley from Michigan, who says, "My wife has the real Joe back." If you're an executive, entrepreneur, investor, real estate professional, attorney, doctor, and you're sick of the stop-start cycle and the damaging effects alcohol has on your health, happiness, and family, and you're ready to regain confidence, become more present with your spouse and children, reduce stress, anxiety, and irritability, sleep better, increase focus and productivity, and feel better quickly, you're invited to apply to become one of our 24 monthly Project 90 clients. Applicants can apply for an introductory interview by visiting alcoholfreelifestyle.com/project90. There's also a link in this episode's show notes. That's alcoholfreelifestyle.com/project90. Application interviews are limited and are conducted on a first-come, first-served basis. Okay, let's get back to the show.
And then I would have a decent lunch. I'd be feeling a little better, and I would have a pretty healthy lunch. But it would be smaller, on the smaller side, because I'd be thinking about all the calories I had ingested the night before and thinking about the unhealthy breakfast that I'd used as a sponge for my stomach to soak up the yucky feeling from the hangover. Bottom line, I wasn't enjoying food. So now, another reason it's easier to eat earlier in the evening is because I do fuel my body properly. I wake up and I'm kind of a creature of habit. Typically, I'll have some sort of a smoothie using full-fat Greek yogurt, frozen berries, spinach, riced broccoli, things like that, some flaxseed, maybe half an avocado. So I'm getting, and I use a lower calorie nut milk of some sort. So I'm getting, you see there, I'm getting protein, I'm getting fiber, I'm getting some healthy fat, and I'm getting some healthy carbohydrates. And that gives my blood sugar a chance to get to a nice stable point. That way I'm not crashing later in the day and grabbing whatever snack I can get into my mouth. So that's a great way to start the day. And yes, I do love my coffee. So I wait about 60 minutes after waking up to have my first cup of coffee. That gives my adrenals a chance to kind of get running, get up and running in a healthy way, doesn't stress them. And then I have some coffee, my breakfast. And then for lunch, I actually make lunch my larger meal of the day. So that might look like someone's typically healthy dinner. I have that for lunch. And I usually have that somewhere around 1 o'clock or so. And then as the evening goes on, I'll make another little meal, or I'll get to more of that later. But I have, enough calories to support my metabolism, But again, things that are pretty clean and easy to digest. And so just supporting my body throughout the day makes things so much easier. And if you are in the cycle of drinking and you're coming off of that, we're going to help you with tips and tactics during your time in Project 90 as your body becomes accustomed to not having as much sugar, as your gut restores, things like that. So you get to implement some of these habits as you go. Another reason that weight loss became easy when I stopped drinking is that I began to exercise with intention. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, if you're around my age, typically these decades are not known for being peak fitness, but that can actually be untrue. When I was drinking, because of my background in health and fitness, I always continued to exercise. Yes, I would miss some days because I wasn't feeling well because of the drinking. But typically, I continued to exercise very regularly and actually quite hard. And part of that was to prove to myself that I didn't have a problem. Sound familiar, anyone? But there was a real element of self-loathing and punishment in there. And so for better or for worse, I can calculate a lot of things in my head. I can calculate calories and I can calculate how many calories I'm burning, put it up against my basal metabolic rate, et cetera, et cetera. And so I would exercise hard enough that I felt like I had burned off the damage, or at least most of it. And then I would repeat the whole darn thing again. So it was a vicious cycle. And the truth is, I wasn't enjoying exercise. And that's sad because that's always been a real source of joy for me, is movement and being active. So that was a bummer. I didn't even really recognize it at the time. So you probably also know that I'm a breast cancer survivor. So I've had to come back from quite a deficit physically. But it's been amazing. Here I am in my 50s and my body fat is quite low. I don't actually always exercise as hard as I used to, but I exercise every day, meaning that I move my body every day. That might be a walk with my dogs. That might be a little bit of Pilates. It might be a full-on workout. I also use the money that I no longer spend on alcohol. I use that to invest in a personal boxing coach. No, you will not see me in the ring. I don't think. I don't know what she has planned for me. But I decided at the beginning of 2023, you know what? Let me see what this post-cancer body can do. So I started working out with her and wow, the results have been amazing. I've gained a lot of muscle and lost a significant amount of body fat. And so I'm exercising with intention. And the intention is to support my body and to show gratitude to my body. I am not looking in the mirror and pinching any jiggles or saying, oh, look at my thighs. I'm not doing that anymore because as we grow older, I think we all can just become a little more grateful for the gift of health. And of course, I want to look really good, but it's more like a nice side effect from the healthy lifestyle that I can easily maintain and grow now that I'm alcohol free. And you know, part of that also is that when our members come through our program, they come in and they're not feeling too good about themselves. They're not their biggest fans. But through their time with us, they start to develop some self-compassion and some self-love. And so things become less about looking perfect. It really becomes about feeling good, feeling authentic, and that shines from the inside out. And yeah, they all do look better in their jeans. So there's that. Another habit that has always come naturally to me, but also would fall by the wayside sometimes when I was in the drinking cycle, is hydration. I have always, I think before it was even cool, I've walked around with a water bottle. I joke that I've always been a heavy drinker. I just had the wrong thing in my hand for a while. But I really have always been big on hydration. Again, partly because of the stuff I learned in college during my studies, but have always really enjoyed drinking lots of water. Well, after a night of drinking, of course, I would feel very dehydrated. And so I'd wake up just behind the eight ball because I was trying to, again, like in so many areas of life, play catch up with my hydration. Water also didn't taste as good when I was feeling unwell from the effects of alcohol. And so, you can look up what an appropriate amount is for you. There are a few factors. Generally, it's your body weight divided by 2. That's about how many ounces a person needs. That varies based on fitness level, where they live. I live in a high altitude, so I drink more because of that, and also because I do exercise. However, living in Miami, I used to sweat a lot, so I would drink more there. So some of it is personal, but when you are drinking enough water, you get in touch with your cues, your thirst cues. And the truth is, if you do feel very thirsty, you are likely already dehydrated. So I always have a water bottle with me. Sometimes even on these podcasts, you'll hear me pause and take a sip because I do drink a lot of water. And there are so many great things out there now. Our members go pretty hard with the sparkling water. And of course, we're always sharing sugar-free, low sugar tips and tricks with those ways to dress them up when you want to feel like drinking something special and different, something else for your taste buds. So that's always great. I also drink 16 ounces of water first thing in the morning, and I invite all of our members to do the same. I suggest filling up something like what is this one that I have here? These hydro flasks or whatever, filling that up before bed. And then when you wake up in the morning, you just chug about 16 ounces. It's a really good signal to your body that, hey, we're up, we're at 'em, let's go. So maybe that's a little tip that you'll want to try. So overall, you could do all these things separately and keep drinking. But what are the benefits really going to be? Maybe you'll stave off some dehydration. Maybe you'll stave off some of the weight gain, some of the damage to your organs, but not enough. And so I love the idea that giving up this one thing gives you access to so many other things. A lot of people around our age who recognize the shows that I just mentioned might feel some sort of resignation. Like, well, here I am. I guess I'm going to be this way forever. I'm going to look this way. I'm going to feel tired. But is that true? Is that really true? If you're drinking, it is likely true if you continue to drink. But if you stop, even for 90 days with us, why don't you see what it's like? Why not give yourself a chance to find out if there's something better? I invite you, as always, to book that free discovery call, 15 minutes, and we would love the opportunity to have a chat. We may not be for you. We take our prospects through a sort of an interview session because we are quite intentional. We want to make sure that we can serve you and that you are ready to dive in and do this. So I invite you to book that. Go ahead and take action. 2024, let's make it your year. Thanks for listening. Until next time, take good care. Have an awesome day.